left my boots and my faded jeans in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and swapped them for a coat and tie and someplace else to go. I had days that were laced with white lines on narrow blacktop roads, with honky-tonks around the day and drunken episodes. Those flashing lights and them busted fists and women with no name. And morning past the night before I learned to play the game. Then one night I was peeling labels on empty bottles of beer. A sweet young girl in her guitar played tunes I swore were yours. 'Cause she played memories, the kind of romance.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and sinners, to the Church of the Search, where we talk about finding the treasure that Forrest Fenn hid somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe. I went looking today, and guess what? I didn't find it again. Boots on the ground, number 35, and didn't find that dadgum thing. But I got some great photos, and I've got a cute video to share with you. And we're not going to read emails. We might do some text messages. So if you want to send a text message or leave a voicemail, you can do that. But I want to get to phone calls as soon as possible. All right? Stick around. Enjoy the night. Pour yourself an adult beverage. This is caffeine-free Diet Coke topped off with Wild Turkey American Honey. Actually, the Wild Turkey American Honey is all down there on the bottom, so that should be damned interesting. Love you guys. Stay with me.
I drank her words like they were wine and looked into her eyes. She turned her head and walked away, made me realize the longest days and the darkest nights were more than I could face.
The only thing
that I could do would leave that lonesome place that she played memories, the kind of real romance to be dark rhapsodies, the midnight rendezvous, yeah, she played memories of songs that made me blue, sweet soft melodies that took me back to you. Took me back to you. Took me back to you.
There, all fixed. Thank you. Who was that said that? Date and background. Thank you, Sarah Rocks. Aren't you up on things tonight? But we have to take care of this too. don't know why that keeps popping up. It's in my, okay, so I gotta, hang on. I've got to go to studio mode so I can grab this and drag it down here, and it's out of the way on the AGK intros up there where it's supposed to be. Okay, so then I can go back to studio mode 1. There we go. Huh, see? Real time. This is what you're going to find out to do. If you show up to that webinar on May 30th, you're going to find out how to do all this stuff in real time. So when you make a mistake like that, you can fix it, make it look like you knew what you were doing all the time. So my youngest daughter, Toby Renee, called me today, FaceTime me today. She's 31 now, I think. Anyway, she's always happy. She and her boyfriend are remodeling their house, and they got a dog, and they're having to work from home because of the pandemic. And she works for a company in Sweden that's called Toby Pro, and they sell. They don't just sell. They build systems that do eye tracking. So if you're a company and you want to see how an individual is responding to your website, they have glasses and a thing on a monitor that I can't even explain it, but it tracks your eyes, and you can tell what draws your attention, etc. Anyway, so she called me today, and she was telling me a story about her dog. They just got this dog. She's like me. She's not a dog person. Her sister, let's see, Ryan. Her older sister, Ryan, is a dog person. Erica is definitely not a dog person. I never thought Toby was always a cat person because their mom was a dog person. She always had a dog. And, of course, because she was my wife, I had to do the dog. And half the time, I had to do all the work associated with him. But I've always had the no pets, no plants rule. Anyway, she and her boyfriend got a dog, and they went to the wherever you get dogs. I don't know where you get dogs. Dog pound. Dog, wherever you can adopt dogs, right? And it's an Australian Ridgeback, I think is the right name for it. Anyway, she was telling me the story that every time one of the fire engines goes by, he starts howling, and he's got a vibrato in his hall. And I said, sure, that's just a dog. Well, about, 20 minutes after we finished the call, they were outside. She was sitting on her patio, and damn if a fire engine didn't go by, and damn if the dog didn't start with the howling. So I want to play this because it's really cute. So let me switch over. I just downloaded it a few minutes ago. So let's do screenshot here. Okay, and how come I'm not in the screenshot? HK Studio, background, and Logitech webcam, and there I am. Okay. All right, so here is, his name is Goalkeeper. She and her boyfriend both are soccer players. They played Rhodesian Ridgeback. Yeah, okay, that's who I'm telling you. I don't know the difference. She had to tell me that. Maybe you can tell me. He looks like a mutt to me, so I don't know. All right, here we go. Watch this.
Good boy. That was so good. Thank you for telling us about the woo-woos.
Oh, man. I don't know who's funnier, the dog or my daughter. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in our list of videos, and I'm going to call it Keeper because that's his name. And every time we get one of those guys that wants to talk about the treasure and doesn't really have anything to say about it, I'm going to play that video. I'm going to play that. Next time Rio Granny Joe comes in, I'm going to start playing that video. Anyway, after a busy day today, she sent that to me, so I thought it was really cute. Hope you enjoyed that. They were used to hunt bears. Dang. Well, no wonder they're tough. No wonder they're tough guys. Let me go back to my screen. I got to turn on my analytics here just a second. Oh, okay, we're good. All right, and we do have a video there, and yeah. All right, we are ready for some jazz. Oh, but first, we got to take care of business.
Housekeeping, you want towel?
Of course, you want towels. Remember, before you leave tonight, to like this video. YouTube likes it when you like this video. The Magical Treasure Princess, who isn't in the room at the moment, but could be later, likes it when you like our videos. She loves it. She loves it when you like our videos. Actually, we love it when you don't like our videos because that's what YouTube calls engagement. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, your customers, your clients, the entirety of your social network so that we can, you know the phrase, you know what it is. Grow the channel. And finally, if you are not already a subscriber, join the 6,600 other subscribers. And that way, if you subscribe, ring the notifications bell every time we start a live stream, you'll get a notification. That way you'll be in the know and you can come and join these wonderful people in the chat room to talk about the Forest Fenn treasure. All right. Down at the bottom of your chat window, there is a stylized but grayed out $sign. Click on that $sign and YouTube will walk you through giving a super chat. They like doing that because they take 30% off the top. What would be much better for you and for us is keep an eye out for a PayPal address over my head here. It's paypal.me/gypsykiss. Donate the same amount there using whatever method you want to use to donate, and we get 100% of that baby. And YouTube probably gets angry because they're YouTube, for God's sakes. And then last but not least, below my chin here, right here, chin number. You'll see our phone number here in the studio. It's 202-815-1171. If you call that number right now, you'll get our voice messaging system. You can leave a voicemail of up to 3 minutes, 3 whole minutes, 180 seconds worth of voicemail telling us where you're searching, what your warm water salt, what you think the blaze is, and when you're going to get that treasure. And then finally, later on this evening, after we read our text messages, did I say you could send a text message to that number? Write that number. See, right number here, chin, right below my chin. I got to move over here. Got to move over a little bit. Chin number. You can send a text message to that number, and we will read those texts later on this evening. So let me clean out last night's business. So we don't need those. We can delete those. They go into the box. And let me see if we got some text messages. Let's see if we got some text. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Okay. That's all from last night, too. So let me erase that. Get rid of that and that. Let's see. Pow. And okay. So Tony, Tony Henman, if you're watching, I owe you, oh gosh, darn it, I didn't want to do that. I keep pressing that button and I shouldn't. I need to send you Nemo's address. You can get in touch with him. I guess what I can do is I'll send you his email address. You can get in touch with him. And then I have a phone number here from a gentleman that met you at the World Series of Fenn, and he would like a pendant for his wife. And I will send you that phone number later this evening via email because I can't figure out. I'm not smart enough. Well, I am smart enough, but I'm lazy. So we do have, let's see, from New York. We got a voicemail. Let's listen to the voicemail. Let's turn the voicemail thing control here.
Hi.
Oh, it's a sexy voice.
Hi, my name is Holly Myers. I saw Fenn's poem.
Great.
I'm in New York. I don't have anybody going until the first week in July or June, first week in June. But I wondered what your take would want to be if I sent you to it.
Yeah, for that voice, I just might do it. No, friends and lovers. I didn't mean that. Saints and sinners. I don't do that because if I did it for one, then I'd have to do it for everyone, and I get 3 of those a week. Right? I'd be traveling all over the western states looking for everybody else's treasures. So maybe we'll give Holly a little, and then we'll call her later because she sounds great. I like her voice. Okay, I think let's play while I'm waiting for voicemails. Hang on, let me make sure the phone line is disconnected right now. So, okay, send me some texts, some text messages, and then you can leave a voicemail. And then later on, maybe we'll try to call Holly. If you want me to call you, send a voicemail, and that way I can just listen to you say, Toby, call me back this number. This is, I don't know. I need a name. Joe Montana. I just made that one up. Well, I mean, I didn't make it up. This is Joe Montana calling from Wyoming, and I'd like you to call me so I can tell you where the treasure is. So that's where I'm going with these calls. Oh, rats, journeyman, did I? Dang nabbit. Okay, so when you leave your voicemail, because I didn't give it to her, it played her phone number, did it? Is that what it did? I didn't. Did I say her phone number? No. She must have said her phone number. You forgot to blank the. Dang nabbit. Okay, another thing. So when you call me, when you leave a voicemail, your phone number is sitting right there in front of me. You don't have to leave your phone number. And what's going to happen sooner or later is what's going to happen just now, like it happened just now. I'm going to play it on the air. So, yeah, thank you, Davio. I noticed. Okay, well, I didn't notice at the time I did it, but. Now, you know what that means? That means I'm going to have to edit this video. I'm going to have to cut out her number. And that means there's not going to be any chat afterwards. So, my fault. Not paying attention. So, yeah, don't say your phone number, guys. I mean, if you're going to leave a voicemail, don't do your... I know she said it, but... Shut up! Shut up!
OMG.
I don't know. There's so many of these things on here that I don't know what to do. This is my favorite.
Headshot.
And this one here too. I don't know what I want to use this for. I kind of want to use this for when we get some crazy guy. Shelly gets mad when I play that one. Shall we call her and say hi? What was her name? Do you guys remember her name? She said her name. It was like Holly? Another Holly? Okay, let's play it again here.
Hi, my name is Holly Myers. I saw Fenn's poem, and I'm in New York. I don't have anybody going until the first week in July, or June, first week in June. But I wondered what your take would want to be if I sent you to it. Give me a call. Too. Again, my name is Holly Myers. Thank you.
By the way, I wanted to say thank you for the mods in the room tonight. I see K-Pro, Sarah Rocks. I haven't seen Colorado. Hooli and the Sassy 1962 carrying their blue wrenches and using them to keep the room safe. Using them wisely to keep the room safe. All right, let's call Holly back, see if she answers the phone, because she left this... Let's see, what's today? May... Oh, she left it this afternoon at 3 o'clock my time, so... She might be, what time is it in New York? So it'd be 9 and some change right now. Let's give her a call back.
Hi.
No, damn it, I didn't want to do that.
Holly Myers.
Let's go. Damn it.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 6 2 available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Holly Myers. This is Toby Younis of Gypsy Kiss, returning your call. So I don't usually go looking for other people's treasure hunts, but give me a call and we can talk about it, all right? Thanks. Have a good evening. How could you not call back after that? Houston, Texas. All right, Houston, Texas. Voicemail.
Toby Younis. This is Fenn 4, and you can call me back whenever. Bye. Making a phone call.
Sounds like his mom is going, "What are you doing?" Making a phone call, Bob. All right, that's Fenn 4. Let's call him back because he didn't give us his number. That's a good sign, huh?
Hello.
Hey, Fenn 4. It's Toby Younis with Gypsy Kiss. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fair to middling. What do you got in the Forest Fenn treasure hunt or the Fenn 4 treasure hunt?
Okay, hold on one, please.
Sure.
Handing off a little grandchild. Oh, just I'm out in Taos right now, or just on what is that, El Prado, or
Yeah, El Prado.
yeah.
And do you have property there? What are you doing up there?
I'm up in Pagosa Springs usually.
So we have a couple of searchers from Pagosa Springs.
Yes, I've seen that.
Oh, okay. All right.
But my question, or I have quite a few really,
or
input.
We've got till midnight tonight, so you go ahead, ask all your questions.
Okay. One of the things that I was wondering or have never seen is the image from Too Far Rock, which is on the cover, is very predominant on Google Earth. I mean, I've even traced the picture and have put it over an area here in New Mexico. And has that ever been talked? I've never seen it. I've only been looking for about a year and a half, 2 years. But I mean, it's so obvious. I just wonder why I've never seen anything, or is that just someone keeping something hush hush?
Well, so I need to know what is your. I can tell you the story about the picture, but what have you concluded about it? What do you think about it?
Well, it's very. I've searched around in some of the Dalnito or a few. I mean, any place where I could get information. I mean, it's just well, for one, if it deals with the area, and even my solve would involve that also. So I mean, it has the definite head. There's a lot of other things that happen as far as the creek from Warm Waters Halt is 8.25 miles to the turn. There's so many physical observable clues
in that single picture.
Oh, well, I mean, that's part of it. And that's it. Yeah. I mean, in that picture, I mean, I could trace over the Too Far to Walk and put it over Google Earth and, enlarge it to the exact size of the picture. And I mean, it matches exactly. And that's what gets me. I just sort of, well, I've already said I'm down here in Dallas, but yeah, it's just, I mean, it's so obvious, but I mean, people are looking all over, and I understand that because I mean, I've been out only about 4 times, but not just, hey, I'm going to go on out. I mean, I have specific reasons why I'm going to certain areas or whatever, be it slant coordinates or stuff that, just lines up. And it's just something that I hadn't seen talked about.
Well, maybe I don't know why it isn't talked about. Maybe it hasn't been talked about because, to the best of my knowledge, no one has come to a similar conclusion. Right? No one's come to the conclusion that you have about that image. That's why it's not being talked about. That is very specific to you. But if you go back to the video that I made at Collected Works on October 25th, 2013, he tells a story of that picture. He tells us how it was made. So the photograph that's on Too Far to Walk is a composite photograph. And part of it was the fact that he sent Dale Neitzel, who happened to be in the area, out on the Madison River at the point at which he claims he got into the Madison River to take his 3-day trip downriver where he exited at Baker's Hole. And that's an easy place to find. And the reason it's an easy place to find is because the west entrance road goes right by a parking area that's very close to the Madison River. And it's one of the few places you can get close to the Madison River from that road. So Dale Neitzel went there and took that photograph. And he sent that photograph. Fenn asked him to do another photograph on the Firehole River, where he wrote the story about river bathing is best. But he sent that back to Forrest. Forrest gave that to Lou Bruno. Lou had his artist, whoever that is, I don't know who his artist is Photoshop artist, place the illustration. The shadow is actually an illustration, right? It's drawn in Photoshop, or not Photoshop, but what's the other Adobe product that they use for illustration? I can't remember the name. Anyway, it's an Adobe product, and so that photo was completely assembled by an individual who knew how to create that kind of illustration. So it's a composite, and it was created from several images, including the image of the shadow and the image of the river that Dale Neitzel took and sent to Forrest. So the likelihood that it serendipitously can be placed on over an area on Google Earth and tell you things would be very fortuitous and very metaphysical, but I'm not sure if it would be likely.
Well, I'm going to say I tend to disagree on.
Okay.
I mean, I understand on how the whole that it was matched and all this. As far as what you were talking about, how they came up with the photo, but I mean, it matches perfectly, even underneath, where you would have the crotch of the pants, and I mean cover. So in other words, I'm not looking at a 1 to 2 mile square. I'm looking at I approximately probably a good 10, 12 miles out on Google Earth. And the other thing about it is, for it to match up, you also have to how do I want to say? I don't know if I want to say invert it or transpose it, in the sense of when they talked about the George Washington picture on the dollar bill or whatever. You do the exact same thing, and I mean, if it's for it covering that, I mean, I did it on a transparency, covers it, and I've showed people everything, and a few people within the family, don't give them any hints. What do you see?
Yeah,
I see,
right,
and then I show them the transparency, and it's like, yeah. So I mean, it's not just me, but I mean, I'm just showing it within family without doing any type of leading.
Well, certainly that's a novel approach for finding the treasure. I haven't heard that before, and it's probably the reason that nobody is, as you suggested, talking about it. So it's all yours. It's an original theory. So you have that about it. Better that people aren't talking about it, because if people were talking about it, they would have figured it out as well, and you'd have all this competition the way it is now. To the best of my knowledge, I mean, I talked to a lot of people. Nobody's ever brought it up before, so it's an original theory.
Well, I go different ways. I mean, I have free time to get on out.
Yeah.
I mean, I went out today, and it's just I mean, it's almost if And again, like I'm going to specific spots, not just,
Right.
hey, let's go over here. This is great, because you could spend your whole life doing that.
Absolutely.
But it's been interesting, and that's why I asked you about. I brought up the Rio Grande, and the thing about it, and that was in a previous question, maybe yesterday, was that he specifically, I understand, he says it's not in the Rio Grande River, is what I believe. It was said. If I'd have to go back and check some stuff, but how, it's not near, and that's where I get, how far is near? Is it a mile? Is it 100 feet? Is it 2 miles? Is it 3 miles? Is it 10 feet?
Yeah. Oops.
And so that's where my question was going yesterday when I was asking about that. You were talking about the rift. I understand that.
I would be more concerned with the comment that followed that, where he said the Rio Grande is not in the Rocky Mountains.
Well, he said that, but then you go, the Rio Grande starts in Colorado, up by the San Juans. I live up in Pagosa, so that's a false statement to a certain extent, unless you qualify it with New Mexico.
Maybe he is.
Well, right, that's an assumption then.
So here's his exact words. When I said the treasure was not hidden in Utah or Idaho, it was my plan not to narrow the search area any further. But in the light of, and this was June of 2017, but in the light of a recent accident and in the interest of safety, I feel it necessary to alter that plan. The treasure chest is not underwater, nor is it near the Rio Grande River. It is not necessary to move large rocks or climb up and down a steep precipice, and it is not under a man-made object.
Right. So where I go with it is, what do you consider near? That's sort of subjective, where I say, okay, I could say, hey, it's only 10 feet. 10 feet is near. 1 mile is near. As long as you're still dealing with the Rocky Mountains, I understand that part.
So
on the
in your
side.
in your here's, and then in a continuation, this was actually the same. No, it was 10 days before. He said, if your solve is in the desert, get a new solve. And remember, much of the Rio Grande River, he even qualified it, so maybe he does know that it's in that the Rio Grande is in the mountains in Colorado. Much of the Rio Grande River is not in the Rocky Mountains. Right, and I had seen that also. So that was probably his, because when I first started reading, then I'm going like, so what do you mean it's not in the, it runs through Crete, it runs throughout that whole area. Yeah, so he qualified it. He used the word much of the Rio Grande River is not in the Rocky Mountains. Right, correct. But along that line, so, and where I'm going with it is, naturally I'm looking to the east of the Rio Grande, or not naturally, that's me saying that. So at what point does the Rocky Mountains qualify from east of the Rio Grande? There's different areas that jut out, and you have, if some people might call them mountains, some people might call them foothills. It's high desert. I was raised in high desert, so I understand all that, but are they considered part of the Rocky Mountains? That's I can only tell you that I would be looking in altitudes greater than 5,000 feet. Well, that I'm doing. Yeah. I mean, well, then you're fine. Yeah. Okay. Because I don't think the rift is going to get you above 5,000 feet, is it? The rift, not down in the river. I wouldn't be looking up above in the canyon wall in some of those areas. Is right around 6,000, 6,200. BLM land is pretty much where I'm concentrating on right now. Well, I'm trying to, let me find those maps that gentleman sent me last night. And if you look at the spread that's between 5,000 and 10,000 feet, there's a lot of miles. So there's a lot of space between the western edge of the Rocky Mountains, or the western edge of the mountains that are above 5,000 feet, and the eastern edge. I mean, you could see where it's not in the rift. Right. Any place in the rift. Hang on just a sec. Let me take a look at that. I'm going to have to remember what the gentleman's name was. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Who was that? Let's play. Here we go. So there's New Mexico. So there's Santa Fe. So the area that's between 5 and 10,000, is that 10,000 feet? Let's see. So the dark area is 10,000. So, yeah, I mean, actually, if you look at the river, here, I'll share the picture with you. So there's Santa Fe. According to this, the dark tan color is above 10,000 feet. The medium tan color is above 5,000 feet. This is the dark tan color there, that and that. There's the Rio Grande, and this area is above 5,000 feet. So, so if you could find a way to call this area, it's certainly above 5,000 feet. Now you have, if there's the Rio Grande, you have two questions you have to answer. What's near the Rio Grande, and where am I in relationship to the Rocky Mountains?
I don't see anything on the screen other than yourself.
Oh, you've got to wait. It takes 30 seconds for it to change.
Okay.
But you'll see it and you'll know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, again, an original theory. I don't know if it's original, but certainly I haven't heard it before. And it certainly qualifies according to what he said. And the debate of what the word near means is between you and Forrest Fenn.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, I mean, and not just that's just the basics. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, as far as a few other people, I mean, I have a lot of, I would say, pinpoint to the pretty much 8th clue, 9th clue, close.
Yeah.
Or in there, as far as I'm concerned.
So what's keeping you from recovering the treasure at this point?
Say again now?
What's keeping you from recovering the treasure at this point?
Well, I'm looking. I have it. There's a little bit of high water on one point that I'd like to go check.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I do the Rio Joe and just go swimming and tie a rope to me.
Yeah, it's not in water.
No, no. But there's the. I mean, it could be there is a little island in one of the areas.
Mm-hmm.
Lat longs 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, which covers the family.
Yeah.
And 27, which covers their what is that? Their wedding date. Those either lat longs all cross, in a certain area.
Mm-hmm.
There's other stuff that that in a few couple areas that.
So let me ask the question in a different way. When do you expect to go and recover the treasure?
Well, I was out today. I mean, there's.
But you didn't come back with it. That's the question you answered. So the question now is, when do you expect to recover the treasure?
When? I'm still trying to, like I said, there's a few things. There's one place that I'd like to go try tomorrow, probably tomorrow. It's just a little bit of a different spot than the other. I have about 3 spots that I think that would work. A lot of them fit all the, not just the poem, the hint, and the whole bit, but as I think as anybody that has actually been out, there's a whole different ball game from looking what looks like on Google Earth than getting out there and actually seeing, hey, this ain't as flat as it looked on Google Earth.
Yeah.
Or vice versa,
I warn people of that a lot. So do you think in 2020, sometime before the end of 2020, you'll have recovered the treasure?
if I keep on putting in time, that would be my hope. I mean, at some point, if I'm not going to keep beating my head of, I think at some point I would probably just start throwing my solve out there and just seeing what people think. Be neat if someone found it. Yeah, could I use an extra 2 million or be it whatever or all the other stuff? I mean, monetarily would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about all the extra BS that would come with it.
Mm-hmm.
That, I've heard you talk a little bit of like, just keep it confidential. I don't need some goofball knocking on my door or whatever.
Anonymity is key. So, what does your, let me see, how can I ask this without you having to give a lot away? Does your warm waters halt have anything to do with water temperature?
It would be the warm waters halt comes down from, yes. I take it literally from a warm springs, not a hot springs. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, but you don't dip your toe in it, do you? You're not dipping your toe in it.
I had, well, part of it, I just found out I can't get to part of it because it's, as far as where it halts, I could, but it probably, in most part, for the most sense, I think it runs fairly dry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's water off and on, but where it joins up.
And is your blaze a natural object or a man-made object? I'm just using Rio Grande Joe is natural.
In a few blazes, I have found one area that
Wait. What do you mean a few blazes? What does that mean?
Well, I consider a blaze could be a couple different things, but the way I see it, the way I am seeing it, is all in a physical, geographical observable to the eye.
And of your 9 clues, are they long lived? I mean, will they be here in 100 years?
The only, they could be. There's only one that I would say that is not long lived, or it depends, which would be water high, which I'm, pretty much giving things away here, but I would bet, it's you have the water gauges, which you know about on the Rio Grande.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the first one was down there off in the Embudo area.
Right.
A river gauge that's what you're checking. You're checking water. It's like, duh. Wow. I'm sorry. That's me.
Yeah. You don't even have to be there to check them. You can look on the USDA.
Right. But that's what it is. It's water high. What are you checking? You're checking how high, what the flow of the water is.
I downloaded. Hang on. You know what? I'll share this after you get off. All right, we've gone 20 minutes. Let's give somebody else a chance to call. Thanks for calling in. Glad you did, and good luck with your search.
Okay, thank you.
You have a good evening.
I'll still listen. Bye.
All right. So Shelley and I were looking for images that we were going to use because we're taking a different direction with our thingies, thumbnails, YouTube thumbnails. So we were looking for pictures, and one of the folders that I opened up was one of the folders from, I don't know, we did Rio de los Pinos. I will drink to that because I haven't said it in a while. 6 different times. And one of the pictures was that dang nabbed river of rocks. And I'm going to show it to you. You can see why I call it the river of rocks. Hang on. Let's see. Date modified was today. And we'll use large icons. Oh, hey, I did get some good news. You know what the good news is? My drone is coming in on Monday. Monday. Okay. So I'm going to share this image with you. This is a screenshot here. Okay. So that's the area that I call the river of rocks. Now tell me that doesn't look like a river of rocks. And I've asked geologists to explain that. There's no man-made reason. Now this is on the, let me see if I can remember the direction. So this is on the hang on. New Mexico side. So this is on the southern side of the valley where the Rio de los Pinos is, right? The southern side of the canyon. On the northern side, there's some of this, it looks like this, but it's very different because it doesn't flow down through the foliage. But that's because that's where the train tracks on the other side, and about 500 feet up, that's where the train tracks for the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad are, and they had to do all that blasting, and it just blasted down the thing. Nothing looks quite like this. The railroad is not on this side. There's no railroad on this side of this mountain. It just comes, and I've been about halfway up this river, and it just continues up to the top of the mountain. It's like a magical. And I will tell you that in my theory, this is the no paddle up your creek, because you could not paddle up the river of rocks. By the way, see the yellow flowers right there, yellow flowers? And you can't see them over here because I cut them out, but there's some purple flowers as well. Yellow and purple flowers in the place that you can't paddle up. And not in New Mexico, Shadowcaster. We didn't get glaciers down here within the past, during the glacial period. We didn't have glaciers. This goes back further than that, and it's just so organized. It almost looks in a way like it was man-made, and the rocks are all the same. They're I thought they were basaltic, but they're not. They've been there long enough that they have this mossy covering on them. I'm going back again, and with the drone when I get my new drone. And I'm going to go back and I'm just going to fly the drone up there to get all the footage, see how far up it goes, because I think it's just amazing. Yeah, it could have been a wash, but you got to look at these rocks. I mean, if it had been a wash, you've got to figure that the river would have left some trace of the fact that there was a river. There was no indication that this was washed down by water, because the water would have eroded it, and it would be sitting in kind of a, when water erodes, it leaves a curve. This one is not. This one is above ground. They all sit above ground. So anyway, if you're ever looking for a paddle that you can't paddle up your creek, there's one there. Yeah. So. No, it's not a mudslide. It doesn't even look like a mudslide. It looks like a river of rock. I've tried to. I've had Rick, one of the guys in our member vault. He's a geologist by training, and he didn't have a good explanation for it. As a matter of fact, part of what I'm going to do as soon as we can in New Mexico is I'm going to go back up there and I'm going to do a complete survey of it. Take samples, and I'm going to take it down to the UNM geology labs and see if they can tell me what it's about. I've shown this to, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4 geologists. 4 geologists, and none of them had a reasonable explanation for it. Right? Yeah, exactly, Colorado. Let me show it to you on, here, I'm going to go over to Google Earth so you can see it on Google Earth, because it's very visible on Google Earth. It's very visible. Very visible on... Where's my maps? The mudslides, lava flows on St. Helens look like that. They look like mudslides. They don't look like rocks. Sassy, you're just trying to confuse the matter. You're just trying to confuse me. So let's go to Toltec Gorge. No, let's go to Osher Station. Osher Station in Antonito, Colorado. Because you have to get through our site. You got to go through Colorado first. Okay, so here's Osher. Hang on. Good imagination. See, thank you. I think that's excellent imagination. I think that's what it's going to take. When you got to imagine what was Fenn looking at when he decided he was going to call it No Paddle Up Your Creek. Ain't no paddle up your creek there, brother Fenn. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to do a screenshot. Okay, so there's Osher Station. That's a train stop. Can you see the train tracks? Let me see. Let me change over to satellite view. Okay, so there's where are the train tracks? There's the train tracks right there. Okay, Osher Station, show up for lunch. You got a choice of turkey or meatloaf. but they're so good. It's $13.75. They don't take checks or credit. You got to pay in cash. So this is FDR. So you go down this road right there, and then you start going down into the canyon. The train goes off in here, right? So you go down the canyon, blah, blah, and this is the road. I don't know why this scares everybody. This road says, I had a friend going down there, and he said, that scared the crap out of me. So you come down the canyon. There's where you cross the river. You see that the outro that you see tonight is us crossing the Rio de los Pinos. You go back up here, and there's a little, let me see, is that the place? Okay, so as the road curves up, now by this time you're in New Mexico, right here, right? You'll see the New Mexico state line pop up here any place. So anyway, I always wondered, why don't I just come from the New Mexico side? And we were talking to a group of hunters that happened to be there, and they came up from the New Mexico side, and they were driving kind of an old Bronco. And I asked him, well, why don't I just go back? He saw my, nice new 2018 Toyota four-wheel drive truck. And he said, you don't want to go there with that. And I said, oh, it won't make it. And he says, no, it'll change your truck. That's what kind of road it is. It'll change your truck. So anyway, we park here. We can park here in that little parking area right there. And we go down. This is going down a canyon, right? And we travel this way. There are no human trails. There are cow trails. There's the New Mexico-Colorado border. In my theory, warm waters halts right there, because these are trout waters in New Mexico. As soon as they turn into Mexico, you can go fishing there. This is an island, and it doesn't do it justice. It's a lot greener than it looks. But when in the high water, it actually comes around the island, goes here. This area right here is full of brown trout right in there. But let me show you the river of rocks. So right there is the river of rocks, and you can't see it going up into the woods here because it has the woods, but and we walk right by it in order to go to our search location. So the Toltec Gorge starts right about there. Our search location is in this area right here, and there are thousands of places to hide a treasure. So doesn't that sound like a good paddle up your creek right there? Because it's the river of rocks. So I'm thinking to myself, if I looked at that, my first reaction to that was I looked at that thing and I said, oh my God, it's a river of rocks, because that's what it looks like you see in the picture. So there, I'm sharing my theory with you. So it's called a pyroclastic. I'm telling you, it's rocks. Pyroclastic flows don't look like that. And the implication is that there was a volcano. We don't have volcanoes in northern New Mexico. We never had volcanoes. The volcanoes are way further south. So anyway, pyroclastic flow. I've always liked that. I like watching stories about Mount St. Helens where they talk about. I don't like the fact that it killed a lot of people in the process. So. Okay, let me see if I got any text messages. If I don't have any text messages, then I do have some text messages. Let's see what we got here. Hi, Toby. It's Che in Colorado. I was just wondering if you would like to co-host a Searcher comedy roast. Co-host a Searcher comedy roast. I don't know. I don't think I'm a good. I'm a good host. Let's. I guess we could talk about it. Depending on what your plans are. Is this an online thing? Jim is in the house. He's got a picture of me and his drink. You said send texts. You've been warning people long enough. She solved the poem, so let people call her. Damn it, I know. That was my fault. Adobe Illustrator. That's what I was trying to think of. That's what they used to get that image on Too Far to Walk. Where exactly is that river of rocks? That's so. The Chapulín National Monument is a old volcano, but it's nowhere near this, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. There is no volcano here. There is no volcano in northern New Mexico. Jim's debating in text all the way down. So, That's Jim in Ohio, one of the members of our member vault. And do we have another? Was that a nice try? Oh, John Wayne Bobbitt tried to call but did not leave a voice. Let's call John Wayne. He's been trying to get called here. Whoops.
Toby Younis.
John Wayne, hey, turn off your computer so we don't get feedback.
Okay. What's going on there?
You know what? I'm sitting here in a studio. You're supposed to be telling me what's going on. You were supposed to
I'm
go
up in my search area.
You
for
were
a couple
supposed
weeks.
to go look for your treasure in your search area. It's now. Did you move out of New Mexico again? You're back in Colorado. What's the story there? Where are you?
I'm off.
Huh?
Well, I don't know. I mean, should I give myself away or what?
Oh yeah, nobody's gonna find it. Go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Well, we should do that celebrity roast though. That searcher roast, pretty good. It's right up my alley. But
you know what?
it seemed like it was fun.
Have you been? You've been involved in one of those, haven't you?
Yeah, many of them.
Yeah.
The roast.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to roast me.
Well, this one, no. What they want to do is they need a host, so maybe you could host it for a change instead of being the subject of a roast. Okay, so let's talk about your search area. Where this week are you searching? Because I know it changes from week to week.
I'm at the end of the rainbow.
At the end of the rainbow, and is that
end
of that rainbow in New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana?
The rainbow route. There's a steam train that ran up from Silverton to like Ouray. It hauled the silver and gold out of the mines. So I mean, I'm thinking, well, if you wrote a poem, with 9 clues, and it says, what's the quote? So I wrote a poem containing 9 clues that follow precisely will lead you to the end of my rainbow and the treasure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe, the rainbow is part of the poem. It's an introduction.
Yeah.
So it's part of the poem. It's not the poem, but why can't that be a clue? The rainbow. Why can't the rainbow route be a clue to where, the location?
Well, it could be just that's just as reasonable as anything else I've heard or had.
Let's start with the first clue, anyways.
All right. Where's the first?
You know what toponymy is?
Toponymy.
The study of toponymy.
Toponymy. The study, isn't that the study of the words?
Yeah, words, language. Generation after generation, how language has changed.
Yeah.
How people talk from in the 70s and 80s and 50s. Everybody, the dialect was different.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to where, like I would say in the 1900s, how warm waters. Okay, if warm waters meant like in Indian language, when Indians spoke, they spoke usually 2 words when they named something.
Yeah.
So warm waters to an Indian. If you translate that in Indian language or Indian language, it would mean Uncompahgre. In their language, 100 years ago, maybe more. But so today, Uncompahgre means, in translation, in English, is hot water springs. So I'm thinking, well, toponymy-wise, that's not the way what the Indians called it.
From the Ute
Indian
language? Yeah. Okay.
Ute Indian. That's Chief Ouray. And Chief Ouray is Ouray means arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he is also known as the man of peace. Take the chest and go in peace.
Right.
So if you take the chest, you go right into Ouray County.
So are you back in that search area that you were last year?
Yeah, I'm up here at a hotel. I've been here for over a week.
Yeah.
And I go in the search area, and it's a slot canyon.
Yeah.
And I go in there, I can see the blaze, but I can't get to it. There's a lot of snow when I first got here, and I didn't want to, go in there. I'm taking my time. I'm waiting for some snow melt. The snow melts pretty fast up here, especially in May. That's been melting, so I'm gonna head up there probably tomorrow. And I've been looking at all my maps and figuring out, how he got there, and it's pretty easy. It's not hard, and any old man can do it. So I'm going to go in there tomorrow and see if I can get it.
So
you can see the blaze from Google Earth.
Oh,
I can give you the Greek coordinates.
you know what? I think we did that already once. I remember having this
No,
conversation.
no, we didn't. We tried, but you screwed it up.
Excuse me?
We didn't communicate properly.
Oh, thank you. That's a much better way to prove that.
I think you're a really smart guy. I know that. I admire you, but we weren't on the same page when I was trying to relay the message. So what I can do is I can text you the great coordinates, and you can look it up on Google Earth, and you can zoom in and out, and you can pretty much solve the whole theory just by zooming in and out.
Then why don't I just
map? You can see all the clues.
Why don't I just let you do that, and then I'll go get the treasure tomorrow?
I'm already here.
Oh, okay.
You're 250 miles away.
Yeah, at least that. And I'm comfy.
Why don't you come up here? We'll go fishing.
There's not going to be any fish up there.
There's a beautiful mountain lake here with cutthroat, trout,
oh yeah,
rainbows, and all kinds of good fish. Real beautiful, nice fishing area.
What's the name of the lake? What's an out-of-state license in Colorado? It's like $30, right? It's not very expensive.
I'm like 250 miles away.
Let me see. Colorado out-of-state and fishing license. Non-resident, that's the annual. Small game and fishing. I'm not going to be fishing. Senior 65. I do qualify for that. Hang on. Let's see.
K-Pro has a picture. I sent her a picture of the blaze.
Oh, you did?
K-Pro, you can't show anybody that. That's top secret. And tell your boyfriend too, not to show anybody.
Yeah.
You, Mike, and Toby and Shelly.
Okay.
Those are the only person allowed to have the blaze.
So a 5-day license in Colorado is $31.75. A 1-day license is $16.75 for an out-of-state resident.
Well, you're military, so it's free.
No, they don't. I'm not at Colorado.
You're probably military.
No. You have to be military and a Colorado resident.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I have a free fishing and hunting license in New Mexico, but that doesn't apply to Colorado.
Yeah.
In New Mexico, they give you a. The only thing I can't hunt in New Mexico is there's a lottery for it, black bear, but I can hunt everything else. Freebies.
Yeah, I seen bear prints yesterday when I went up there.
Oh, you did?
No.
Black bear.
Yeah, black bear prints. Yeah. I got a friend here that owns a hotel, and his hotel's closed right now, but he let me use his snowshoes. But I don't know. I kind of got scared. I asked him about these bears. He said, don't worry about them. They ain't going to bother you.
No, the black bears, they keep to themselves unless you trip over one of the cubs or something. So
yeah, they're about 300 pounds. I can take one out.
Are you going up in the snow with snowshoes? Didn't we?
No.
Didn't we have this problem last year?
No, that was ice, and that was tumbling down a large rocky gulch full of water.
Yeah.
Deep water, and that was like a couple miles, tumbling down the rocky gulch.
Yeah.
Getting all loaded up with ice and snow and.
So let me ask. Let me ask the same question.
Really wore me out.
Let me ask the same question that I asked the gentleman in the preceding call. When are you going to recover the treasure?
Sometime tomorrow. Then what do I do with it? Then what? Then the chase is over.
You know what? Then
Everybody's gonna be mad at me.
Then you're going to have to drive 250 miles. So we'll have a special Sunday evening
Party.
show. And who's on Sunday evenings? We'll step on somebody's toes. We'll do a Sunday evening show.
You got the rubber gloves?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll spray you with Lysol. You
Can
come
open
into
the
the
treasure
house.
chest and pull out that frog that K-Pro likes.
Yeah. So you can
and
show
without
it.
those rubber gloves on.
All right. Let's. So.
Well, I want to keep it. I want to keep the frog there.
No, you want to keep the
leave
entire
the frog.
treasure intact. That's how it has the most value.
No, I want the frog to stay in its natural habitat.
Do not leave that frog behind. Don't you dare leave anything behind.
I'm just teasing K-Pro.
Oh, okay. And
the frog.
And text Fenn, tell him you found it, and send him a picture or something.
Yeah, why don't I give you the Greek coordinates? Then you can have some fun with it. You can have some fun with it.
All right, hang on, hold on. Do you have them? Can you tell them to me? I got to get it. note card here.
I can text it to you right now.
Don't text it because then I have to type it in anyway. So give me the coordinates. Just give them to me.
Well, I can't because you're on the air. Everybody has the correct coordinates.
What? They're going to go up and find the treasure tomorrow? All right. Text me the coordinates and I'll look them up after the call. So I can't share that Google Earth image with my viewers?
Well, the only people I'm sharing with solve the solution with is you, Shelly, Mike, and K-Pro.
I don't know if you can trust Shelly and K-Pro.
That's the wrong one. I'm looking for it. There it is. Yeah, there.
All right, well, just send them to me after the call because my viewers are getting antsy here. We got to get a new caller on.
Which one I send it to?
Send it to the 202 number, 202-815-1171. Because my other phone is in the in my kitchen.
Yeah, I know it by heart.
My other phone number or this one?
I sent the 202 number.
Oh, okay.
Great coordinates.
All right.
Now when you the blaze is above 10,200 feet, but it's not really. Kind of hard to explain. It's right at 10,200 feet, basically.
I said it's not above. He said the treasure is not above.
The treasure is below 10,200 feet.
Right.
The treasure is below.
Yeah.
But the blaze extends above 10,200 feet.
Yeah.
But if you were a searcher and you were searching in the area, you can walk right by this blaze and not see it.
Well, why would you walk beyond the blaze if it's higher than 10,200 feet?
Well, the blaze is above 10,200 feet.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So
the treasure chest the blaze can be above 10,200 feet.
Yeah.
So can Warm Waters Halt. So a lot of clues can be above 10,200 feet, but the treasure chest has to be below 10,200 feet, and that's where the treasure chest is.
Agreed.
Because the blaze is at 10,200 feet, but extends upwardly to 10,300 feet.
So you think that
because it's 120 feet long and 120 feet wide.
This is
high and wide.
We had this conversation 6 months ago.
Did you Google it yet?
I haven't gotten that. I'm still on a phone call. I'm not going to do it. You told me I can't do it in front of my
I want to see the look on your face when you see it.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, but it was the wrong conversation.
Ugh. Okay, hold on.
We didn't communicate properly. You were too busy, and we weren't on the same page.
We weren't on the same page. I am not your search partner. We don't have to be on the same page.
Oh.
What? Is that me? Is that me feeding back?
No, I muted it.
Okay, 30. Oh, I can't say them out loud.
Can't say it.
I forgot what the
degrees.
Yeah, I know.
Feet, inches. Direction.
I forgot what the degrees thing is. It 148, 37.
This is highly classified. Going between me and you.
Okay,
Shelly.
I'm not showing it to anybody. Oh no.
Mike and K-Pro don't have it.
Really? They don't have this? So
no, they don't have it.
They
have the picture, but they don't have the
I'll just have to share it with them then. I won't share it with them.
Nah, well.
ASCII. Hang on. I got to get the degrees thing.
Degrees.
Oh, you're killing me. I'm losing audience members as we speak here.
Yeah, it's because we're doing top secret stuff now.
Yeah, and we can't talk about it. Alt 01760116.
Why are you losing audience?
Because we're talking about your stuff. They're not interested in your stuff. They want to know. They want to know their stuff. Hang on.
Well, I told them about toponymy. To solve the first clue, you got to use the art of toponymy.
37.
There you go, people. You want to learn. You want to figure out the first clue. Use toponymy. Warm waters. Figure out what that means. An Indian.
And
Native American Indian.
Ute, Native American
Ute.
language. Ute. It's all about the Utes. Let's see.
Tiger Peak, Tiger National Forest.
All right, let's see where we go here. Oh, Jesus. Forgive me for that. Okay, I'm sharing this with the audience.
Oh, yeah. What if it's the correct solve?
No. It looks pretty interesting.
Forrest is going to be mad because you don't want too many people at this place.
Yeah.
This special place. It's a very special place. Toby.
So is that as I'm looking at this map and it's
believe me, you certainly know what this area is all about. You wouldn't want too many people there. This has a lot of history.
So there's your $1 million highway. Is that your $1 million highway there?
There you go.
See, I know. I am in the right location. We had this conversation.
Crystal Lake.
We had this
Crystal
conversation
Lake.
last year, and you asked me to go fishing on that lake.
Did you put the correct?
Yes, I have it right here. It's up that slot canyon, and I'm looking at the blaze. You showed me this last year, not last.
Zoom in and out on that. Zoom in and out of that blaze. Zoom in, zoom out.
Okay.
And see that it's a drawing, not.
Here, I'm sharing this with my.
The drawing.
I'm going to sharing this with my people.
The drawing.
With my people there.
It's a lady with a headdress.
Okay,
blaze.
so those are the coordinates
nose.
that he gave me right there, and this is his blaze. That's why he says it goes higher than 10,200 feet. Hang on. So because to him it looks like a lady. Is that right?
Don't listen to a word I say, people. I'm nuts.
Yeah. Do not believe anything that John Wayne says.
Don't believe this stuff at all.
Nuttier than a fruit
bogus stuff. It's for the film crew.
Right.
And now you're sharing it.
Yeah, I did already. You're how late are you behind me here?
Yeah, but can you see the blaze? You got a pin drop on it.
You'll see it.
You got a pin drop on it.
Yeah. So I've got the coordinates now. I'm going up there tomorrow. I hope you beat me up there because I'm driving up tomorrow. I could drive up there tonight.
Oh, well, we'll go up there together. There's fishing over there.
All right. You've used up your 17 minutes and 4 seconds.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know what else to do with you.
You giving me the horn?
No, here, I've got a new one for you. Hang on. I'm going to give you the, here.
The rooster.
No, I got something better.
You fall off a cliff? Comes in. Oh, okay. It sounds like somebody falling off a cliff.
I think what's funny is
that's your hound dog.
It's not my hound dog. It's my daughter's hound dog. He's got a
vibrato.
vibrato.
I think my dog's howl is when they mourn. I think because when they howl, I think they mourn. It's a mourning type thing. You know how dogs they're sensitive to people who are in their pain or they're sick?
Yeah. So you think the alarm indicates that somebody's experiencing some pain, therefore the dog is howling?
Well, it's like another dog howling. It's a genetic thing where part of the wolf pack or the family member died and they're mourning.
Yeah.
And when the moon comes out, they remember the loss of their.
Well, he's crying about your theory. That's what he's crying about.
Yeah, but you didn't zoom in and out of that. You didn't zoom in and out like I told you.
I'm going to wait until after so I don't have to keep my people, they're here for entertainment.
Call me later. I'll go over the details and we'll.
Well, it depends how we may go with the show late tonight, so we'll see. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Late? Okay, talk to me tomorrow.
All right.
I'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
I'll have it tomorrow.
When you have it tomorrow, just give me a call. You know my other number. Call me at that other number, and I'll meet you at Forrest Fenn's house.
Well, there's a lot more to this solution too.
You know what?
A lot more to it.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't make any difference if you walk away. It doesn't make any difference how complex or simple your theory is if you walk away with the treasure. That's what counts.
The thing is, no one's going to believe anybody anyways until they have it. So.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody is going to believe anybody until they have it. That's what it's going to take. Until then,
especially Davio.
Why are you picking on Davio?
I don't know. It's just it seems like he's got a beef with me or something.
He does. Well, don't bring it onto my show. Don't bring it on right now. You guys keep it off my show.
No, it's okay. He's cool. All
right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, man.
Yeah.
Bye.
What the heck? Do not bring your beefs on my shoe. Let's see. Attachment 1 image. So 407. I can't do these. 407, and I can't do it tonight. So 407, if you want to share these images, they're beautiful images, actually, with the folks, send them to a gypsyskiss@gmail.com, and I will share them on the Wednesday show. Where exactly? Perfect spot effect for a caller who's drawn on. Yeah, I like that, isn't it? We'll just play keeper. His name is Goalkeeper. So that's what she called her dog, because I coached her for, I don't know, from the time she was 5 until she went off to college, for gosh sakes. She played a lot of soccer. She was always, she was good. She had a lot of heart. She could curve a ball in from a corner shot into the goal 1 out of every 3 or 4 times. That's how good she was. Especially if she was using her right foot. If it was a right footer, it was a little harder with her left. But every 1 out of 4 times that ball went into the goal. All my daughters played soccer. Bless their hearts. Cheryl says, Gypsy's Kiss, similar rocks are present north and a little west of the River of Rocks between Railroad and Rio de los Pinos. Maybe you already know that. Yeah, there are. Part of them, it's hard to tell because if you look at the rock formations on the north of the river, on the north side of the river, let me see, is that right? Yeah. They don't stretch as long. It's like there was a formation in there and it was wiped out. And it's also confusing on that side because there's a lot of detritus from the blasting that was done on the rock side of the mountain to make the railroad. They didn't have soccer for kids when I was a kid. We had Northern Virginia. It's actually the Washington. Well, it's called the WAGS, the Washington Area Girls Soccer, and it's very competitive. And the league has divisions from 5 to 18, and each division has each age group has 5 divisions, and each division has 10 teams in it. So there was a lot of girls soccer. They're very competitive. So my girls each of them went to Virginia Cup, and Toby Renee went to Nationals. Her team went to Nationals. So didn't win, but we did go to Nationals. So they were great little players. And I knew nothing about soccer when they started. And I went to the first game, and I realized that the dads that were coaching were just like me. They didn't know anything about soccer. And so the following season, I volunteered for a coach. And then during the summer for, I think 7 years, I'd go down to the coaching clinics at the University of North Carolina, which at the time had the strongest girls team in the U.S. They consistently won the Division I girls national championships. And so I got good. And then when they got to high school, they'd go to the high school teams and play the high school teams. Of course, I couldn't coach there. But Toby and I went on to, our team went on to Premier League. So I got to coach her. She played, and then they wanted to play field hockey. All my younger girls. Sean went all the way through soccer, but the other girls, at some point, they transitioned over to field hockey. And that was field hockey is interesting because it's some of the same things, but the rules are just weird as the dickens. And so I used to watch them play field hockey, but I coached for 17 years. 17 years of my life coaching soccer. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I loved coaching girls because they're so attentive and they're great little learners. They learn and they apply it readily. And whether they win or lose, they're the same temperament. If you're coaching a girls' team and they lose the game, you give them the little, I used to have a speech, winning builds confidence, losing builds character. And then it was, orange slices and ice cream. Within 5 minutes after a loss, although we didn't lose a lot of games, but within 5 minutes after a loss, they were like over it. They were giggling and chatting, and they were just adorable. Adorable. Okay, you know what? I forgot to open the phone lines. Let's open the phone lines, and you can call in, and we can talk about John Wayne's rainbow theory. Where's my do not disturb? All right, phone lines are open. 202-815-1171. We got some time. We'll play the Nader if we have to. Poor Shelly. She's dead. Makes her crazy. Oh, somebody's calling me on my personal phone. It's in the kitchen. I can't get to it. So who knows what that's about. If you're watching right now and you're calling you probably don't have my number, but leave a message. Leave a message. I should probably go check and see what that is. Because I don't have that many people calling me. All right, hang on. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to turn the phone off just for a second. I'm going to refresh my drink. And then when we come back, we'll take phone calls. Because I better go check and see. I'll bring my phone in here so I don't have to do this again. Okay, let's play some jazz while we're going away here. Let's see what we got. Together with You. Sounds interesting. All right, I'll play some jazz. I'll be back in just a second. So we'll open up the phone lines, 202-815-1171. Call in. We're talking about the Forrest Fenn treasure. And if you go out of bounds, we'll play some Hound Dog for you. What was that? This little jazz repertoire. All right, let me see. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about Forrest Fenn because that's what we're supposed to be talking about, but I'll check, make sure we don't have any more. Oh, dang nabbit, it's Ken from Oklahoma. Let's see what Ken from Oklahoma has to say. Ken, Oklahoma, Toby, hey, 3D Bronze. Hey, 3D Bronze, it's Toby. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. What's up with you?
Hey, well, I was just watching the Church of the Search here, and I was wondering if you could tell me that story you said to remind you. Tell me about the overhead projectors.
The story? Oh my God, that was a long, long time ago. So I'll tell it to you quickly, okay? Because it can get real boring.
Okay.
So, so after I left the NSA, I became an independent contractor, and I contracted not only with government agencies, but I contracted with the large integrators that were trying to sell projects to government agencies, right? And I was really good at a couple of areas that involved intelligence. And so I was hired by a company called Martin Marietta Data Systems. I don't know. I think they were Martin Marietta was bought and integrated into Northrop, et cetera, et cetera. But I was recruited by, or I was hired, not recruited, by a company called Martin Marietta Data Systems for a project for the Air Force AFLC, Air Force Logistics Command. And at that time, at some point, if you were in the finalists after submitting your RFP, if you were one of the 3 finalists, you had to go do a presentation you had 1 day to do a presentation of what your proposal was to the government. This was around a $55 million project, not a big one. Air Force Logistics Command. And so we got a day to go to Boston, where the Air Force Logistics Command was. They were headquartered right outside of the, let me see, what air base was that? I can't remember. Anyway, we went to the Air Force Logistics Command, and we were given 1 day to do a presentation, and I was literally low on the totem pole for this presentation. Like I said, I was not even employed by them. I was contracted by them, but I was involved in all the discussions that led up to this. And so at some point, they decided that I was going to do this presentation. And I think part of it was that I was expendable. I was a contractor. They wouldn't have to, none of the people that worked for Martin Marietta would be in the line of fire. I would just do the presentation. And it was literally my first presentation that I had done since being in college, right, where you get to do presentations all the time. And I never thought of myself as a great speaker. And I went, and so it ended up with the thing was broken up into 8 hours, but I had 12 boxes of those transparencies, right? And each box was a different segment. And so I got up there and introduced myself, and I started the presentation, and I was nervous. I could feel my knees shaking because we were in an official Air Force room that was filled, and I think the lowest ranking officer was probably a lieutenant colonel, and the highest ranking officer was a 3-star general, and then there were some civilians, equal sized GS, what do they call that branch of the civilian service, the GSS, something like that. Anyway, it was these high-level people listening, and there was 4 or 5 of us from Martin Marietta. The other 4 people were sitting on the sides, and I was at the front of the room with this overhead projector and all these slides. And I was really nervous, and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? I've never done this, but I realized I'm the expendable one, and I was okay with that. They were paying my rate, whatever I wanted, they were paying. So I got up there. I was a nervous wreck, and at some point, I went to open one of the boxes of slides going to my next presentation, the next section of the presentation. And when I opened the box, my hands were so sweaty that it slipped out of my hands, and the slides fell out of the box. And you know how these transparencies, they're just oil. The transparencies literally just slid all the way down in a line all the way down the table.
Oh no.
And I had to walk down to the end of the table, ask each one of these one of the generals or staff officers if they would excuse me while I tried to collect all these slides back up. And I was trying to do it so they weren't at least out of sequence, right?
Yeah.
So I got back up. I kept them in sequence. I went through the next 45 minutes worth of presentation, and we took a break. And that was long enough for me to go to the bathroom and literally throw up. That's how bad, how nervous I was. Anyway, I came back, finished the presentation. We got done about 5. The highest ranking officer he was sitting down at the other end of the table, and he walked all the way from the end of the table to where I was standing, and I put my head down because I thought, oh man, this is just going to be terrible. And I didn't care. Like I said, they were paying me. I was okay with it. And he stuck out his hand, and I kind of wiped my hand on my pants so it wasn't so sweaty. That's how nervous it was. And he shook my hand and he said, "Sir," and he was not. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'6", right? So he was probably another foot taller than me, and he was a big man. He was a good-sized man, and he said, "That was the best goddamn presentation we've seen so far." And I thought to myself, well, if that was the best, I can't imagine. We got the contract. Martin Marietta got the contract with Air Force Logistics Command, and I did several. I used to travel between Denver and Orlando. They had offices. They had Martin Marietta Data Systems offices in Denver and Orlando, and for about the next 5 years, every time they had one of these projects, they'd ask me to be on the project team, to red team the project, or tiger team it, and then I would do the presentation.
Did you wear gloves?
No, I didn't, which would have been probably the smart thing to do. But what was really funny is after that, I got a reputation for public speaking in important situations. And for the rest of my career, there were companies that contracted with me simply for the purpose of doing some sort of high level. I did between 1990 and 2001. I did 1,000 presentations all over the world for Oracle.
Oh my gosh.
For Oracle.
That's insane.
Just selling their software. And I wasn't a database genius, but I mean, I didn't come out of the database world. But by the time I was done with it, everybody knew me as the relational database guy. So that's how I got my speaking career started in that situation with the damn transparencies. So that's the story I wanted to tell.
Well, thanks for sharing that story. That's really actually, it's kind of like funny, but I guess it's kind of like a pivotal moment in your career too. So it's cool to hear about that.
Yeah, I think what you have to do is over the years, Shelley has a saying, and the saying is tragedy plus time equals comedy. Tragedy plus time.
That's true.
And so after a certain amount of time, for as bad as it was, I remember flying home with those 4 other members of the team back to Denver. And I literally looked for an open seat so I wouldn't have to sit next to them. We got off the aircraft. We all stood around the Denver airport. That was the old Denver airport. Carousels, collected our luggage, got in they didn't say another word. And it was, that was a Friday. And so I wouldn't see them the entire weekend. I went back. I had a whole weekend to think about them saying, because they didn't give us the contract after that. I mean, immediately after that presentation, the actual award of the contract was another 6 months away. And I thought to myself, well, they'll probably let me go on Monday. Thank you very much. Your contract is done. And they were all in the same thing. Like, oh my God, you have got to do all our presentations from now on. Like, really?
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that was my transparency story. That was,
wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now I have one Forrest Fenn thing that I wanted just to ask your opinion about.
Okay.
So, there's a quote, I don't have it in front of me right now, but where someone asked how far the treasure is from the blaze. And I think Forrest's response was something along the lines of, I didn't take measurements, but if you find the blaze, the answer to your question will be obvious. And so from my perspective, that kind of seems like the treasure chest can't be like really far from the blaze. Because if you find the blaze, you didn't see the treasure. If you find the blaze, the answer to your question will be obvious. But then also, it means that the blaze must be either something that's very directional, like a big arrow that points straight down, where you know exactly where the treasure chest would be if you were to find the blaze, or it's something that's like really small, because if you find the blaze, you're going to go right to it and the treasure chest is right there.
All right, so I found the quote.
Is that what you take from that?
I found the quote on Terry Scant.
Okay,
so
cool.
Let's read it and see what we come up with here. Hold on, I need to make an adjustment here to my analytics. Just give me 1 second. There we are. Okay. All right, so here's what it said. This was in May of 2016, May 13th, 4 days away. It says, Mr. Fenn, how far is the chest located from the blaze? And it's signed Casey. Fenn says, Casey, I did not take the measurement, but logic tells me that if you don't know where the blaze is, it really doesn't matter. If you can find the blaze, though, the answer to your question will be obvious. Does that help? If you can find the blaze, though, the answer to your question will be obvious. The implication to me
he's not saying if you can find the treasure, he's saying if you could find the blaze. So like if the blaze was like a bluff, or like the side of a mountain or something like that, it wouldn't be obvious.
Let's look at it in the simplest possible answer. Okay, Occam's razor. The guy says, how far is the chest located from the blaze? How far is the chest located from the blaze? Fenn says, if you find the blaze, the answer to your question will be obvious. The implication of that to me is that the obvious part of this is that you're standing at the blaze. If you find the blaze, if you can find the blaze, the answer to your question, which is how far is the chest from here, will be obvious. That to me means that when you find the blaze, the chest is within eyesight in some way.
Right, but it almost seems like he's saying, too, like, to find the blaze, you'd have to be kind of close to it. Like, it's not something that's that large necessarily. And either that, or if you're walking, through the forest and you see the blaze, it'll be like, you'll be like, that's the blaze. And then you'll know because of what it is. Like, let's say if it was a pile of large boulders, you would know, oh, there's the blaze. You would know where the treasure is going to be in correlation to that. It would be like somewhere within those boulders, like underneath one of them or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you're just, in my opinion, you've read way too much into the response. I don't think it has anything to do with how you're going to find the blaze. How far is the chest located from the blaze? The assumption in this case is that this Casey imagines that he's found the blaze, and what he's trying to get from Forrest is, how much further do I have to look for this treasure? He says, I didn't take measurements. If you don't know where the blaze is, it really doesn't matter. That means if you don't know, if you haven't found the blaze, then you're just walking past the treasure. So if you found the blaze, the answer to your question is obvious. The implication of that to me...
Right, but if you... Okay, go ahead.
The implication of that to me is that if you're at the blaze, if you have indeed found, quote, the blaze, unquote, you can see the treasure. Look quickly down. Your quest to cease.
Yeah, I get it. That's like I'm on board with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Picking up what you're putting down. I remember that being said. Wasn't that like the 70s they used to say? Or is that later for you?
You know, I think I saw that in one of those old groovy movies.
Yeah.
Forget which one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably where I pulled that from. Just trying to be hip and cool.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I think it's. I think when you can use a citation from 35 to 40 years ago, that makes you pretty hip and cool.
Start using that, Toby. I won't hold it against you for stealing it from me. All right.
You'll hear me use it. I am picking up what you are laying down, brother. And or sister.
All right, Toby. Well, I'll get off the air. I've been on here for a long time. People are probably yelling at me.
They want me to play the howling. They want me to play the howling dog. I'm not going to do that for you because you're my friend.
Oh, no.
So,
sorry,
what's your latest?
Well,
wait! Before you go, tell me about. Are you working on any PPE projects, or have you gotten done with those?
Yeah, I'm still. Well, I got my larger printer fixed, and so I'm printing some more face shields, and I'm printing some of the ear savers. Still, I'm printing those like 24/7, but then my small printer broke, so it's just kind of. When you're running them so much, you're just constantly like, doing repairs and replacing smaller parts. Nothing too major, but you have to kind of troubleshoot what's wrong, why you're getting the particular errors that you're getting. And I'm sending out. Someone reached out to me from a hospital or some type of medical center in Santa Fe, New Mexico, actually, which is I think it's awesome, And so I'm sending them out some ear savers. To help them. They don't need face shields. They have face shields, but I'm sending them out some ear savers. So it's just cool to be able to give back, especially those areas that maybe the searchers have like a bad reputation in. So I think it's kind of cool that maybe, all the searchers have been able to contribute to something that is good, giving back to those areas.
Are you in the room right now?
Am I in the room?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm on my cell phone. I'm on the road, so I can't see anything in the.
Okay, well, when you come back, so we're, where are we? We're, I don't know. Hang on just a sec. Just remember that we're 1 hour and 44 minutes into the show. Okay, and what I'm going to post is I saw this on my LinkedIn channel today. This is a story about the University of New Mexico Engineering. I'm posting it in the chat room right now. Oops, that didn't work the way it was supposed to. Select all, copy, paste. Okay, so 1 hour and 45 minutes into it. Take a look at that, and I'm posting a link to the University of New Mexico Engineering Department, which came up with a 3D printing solution for a very novel mask that it had a replaceable component to it. And they've made thousands of them, and they did it by using the engineering department's 3D printers. Read the story, and there's a picture of the mask in the story. Just take a look at it. You might be able to get the specifications or the 3D model from them and kind of do the same thing, because they built it with a plastic box up front, and the plastic box had a replaceable filter of some kind. I thought it was very ingenious.
Yeah, I started, the first thing I started printing was masks like that, and I printed a few different ones, and I actually went and bought some different HEPA filter material, and that's what I was kind of wanting to go for, but, I didn't really feel comfortable doing that because the we don't know how well the masks are working.
Right.
And I didn't want to give somebody something when I couldn't like stand behind it 100%. And I don't want to give someone a false sense of security and kind of put them into a position where they're not as protected as they may feel. And then also, I really, when I start to do something, I really study hard on it.
Yeah.
And I found some doctors that were advising against the types of these filter materials that they're using because you can actually breathe in the fibers, and then you might have it might help you some right now from COVID, but then you could have some long-term effects with the material staying in your lungs and end up getting some type of lung cancer or something. So it seemed kind of complicated, and I just like the face shields was real simple, and I didn't feel comfortable not knowing if I could be potentially harming someone.
So
or
a couple of
contributing
things.
to them harming themselves.
A couple of things. I just sent you the link to your email address. And
Okay,
secondly, as you may know, we're doing that Monday night show called COVID Conversations with Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
And he said whatever the engineering department designed was approved by the University of New Mexico Medical Center as usable before they destroyed it.
Okay, cool.
So I just sent you the link. Take a look at the story. It also appeared on my LinkedIn feed today, this morning when I checked it this morning. Let me see if I can get that.
Okay.
Do you have a LinkedIn account?
Awesome. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't have anything on social media at all, or LinkedIn or any of that.
Okay. All right.
Try to stay off the grid.
Yeah. Not me, man. I am all over it.
You are the grid, Toby. You're the glue that holds the grid together.
Holds the grid together. That's right. So.
All right. Well, I'll check that out. Anything, and if anybody has any ideas, anything that I can do to contribute, like I said, I'm just going to keep going as long as I can with it. And if anybody needs like ear savers or face shields, I'll do my best to get what I can out to you. Or if you know there's a hospital in need.
Well, you know what you ought to do.
Ear savers right now, those are the fastest to produce.
Why don't you know what you ought to do, if you don't mind me saying so, is show up on our show on Monday night on COVID Conversations, and you can call in and we can talk to Dr. Brown. He can tell us what they need. Oops.
Okay, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Toby. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone's patience with me being on the phone so long.
No, we've had Rio Grande Joe on for longer, so if he can stay on longer, I don't see why you can't.
Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Let's see. Did I actually open? So Jim says Northrop. I work for Northrop in my NASA position. So I don't think Martin Marietta exists anymore. Didn't somebody acquire Martin Marietta? Especially the data systems part, because they were a completely different division. Did I actually open the phone lines, guys? Did not disturb. Yeah, phone lines are open, 202-815. We've got enough time for one more call here, I think. 202-815-1171. Is anybody doing an after show? Make sure you say so in the chat room so people can go over there and harass you for a little while.
Access granted.
Access granted. So, nobody's calling? So I'm going to take Keeper's Howl and I'm going to put it in a clip so that if we get somebody that's just being annoying, we will Lockheed. Yeah, Lockheed Martin. That's right. So thanks, Jim. I didn't know because that was so far. All of that happened after. So I worked for. I did several projects for them. When did I leave the agency? So I left the agency in '79. So that was probably around late 80s when I was doing those kinds of projects for Martin Marietta, because I spent the 90s not only doing my contracting business for the government, but I spent the 90s working for contracted to Oracle for presentations. So that's where I got that data. I think I told that story, right? So did thousands of those presentations from 400 to I think the smallest room was in Boulder, Colorado, and that was 300 people, from 400 to 1,500 people. And my main objective, and it was a 3-hour seminar from the morning. We'd take a break at the middle morning for they always had a, what do you call it? That wasn't breakfast. It was, a light breakfast. And then we'd finish up. We'd be out of there by noon. National Press Club, all the great places. Anyway, one of the things that we would get back were these evaluation forms, and they would, they were ideal sales tools that people had to put their name, their address, their phone number. But then we hang on, Little Rock. Let me just finish the story. But then we would ask them what they thought of the seminar and the presenter, things like that. And here's what, after getting literally thousands of those forms returned, you can put them, we fed them into a system, and because they were pencil sensitive, and we took all the data about how people felt about the seminars. Here's what I can tell you about people at seminars. Within the first minute, 10% of the people in that room will hate you. First 60 seconds, they will hate you. 10% of the and they're non-recoverable. They'll probably leave at the break. On the other hand, 10% of the room in the first minute will love you. You remind them of their son, or they like the suit that you're wearing, whatever it is. By the end of the seminar, another 10% will grow to hate you, and they'll tell you in that form, and another 10% will grow to love you. So now you have 40% of the audience that's emotionally involved and not listening to your presentation. So what you're looking at is the 60% of the audience that is listening to what you have to say. And if you can get half of them to respond by saying, I'd like to hear more about your product, you're doing damn well. I used to get more, not just half, I used to get 65% of those people. So that's life. 10%, 20% of the people will hate you, hell or high water. 20% of the people you meet will love you, hell or high water. And the rest of the people, that 60% in the center, they'll listen to what you have to say, and you can have a conversation with them. Okay. Randy, is this you? Ray? Randy? Arkansas?
Hello?
Arkansas.
Roy.
Hey, what are you up to? We've only got a few minutes left, but let's talk about it.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. You called me.
I got you. Let's talk about take it in the canyon down, not far but too far to walk.
Let's not talk about taking the canyon down. Let's talk about not far but too far to walk. We got enough time to do that. Tell me all about that. What's all that about?
Well, that's subject to interpretation, of course. Not
absolutely,
far, but
as
too
always.
Far to walk. Fenn has made a couple of statements as he walked down the Madison for those 3 days, and that was what he deemed too far to walk.
Right. At this age, he could no longer do that at this age. That was the issue. Yeah.
What was the separation of age between the time he said it and the time he wrote the poem?
So he wrote.
Do you believe?
So he claims that he wrote the poem in the 15 years following his bout with cancer. He probably spent another 10 years revising it before the book was published. But then Too Far to Walk, when he wrote that, Too Far to Walk was 2013. So it was 3 years between the time The Thrill of the Chase was published and Too Far to Walk was published. And he was of the nature, he always wrote the preface right about the time the book was, within 2 months of writing the book.
Okay.
Within 2 months of the book being published.
Okay, so the way my take on Too Far to Walk is that you drive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but I think there's a separation, a clever separation that he gives between walking a creek or a river, which meanders a longer distance in a straight line. So by that I mean that it may be too far to walk down the creek or river or down the canyon, but it's not too far to drive and then walk.
So
So I'm saying
So
he is also.
let's go.
I'm sorry.
Let me just go back. And so, so you're saying that you get to Warm Waters Halt, where
You
Warm Waters
drive
Halt.
there.
You drive
You
to
drive
there,
there.
and then,
Yes.
but you do not get out of your car. You continue driving.
You don't have to unless you want to dip your toe in it.
Yeah, if you just wanted to stop and check it out. But to you, at that point, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm in Warm Waters Halt. How far do I have to drive down the canyon?
Correct.
No. I'm asking you.
I'm going to answer that by saying more than several, less than 10.
Miles?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
That's fair. So, and then, so you drive up to 10 miles, somewhere between, say, 0 and 10 miles. And then,
Say between 3 and 10.
okay. And then you stop and get out of the car?
You do. When you go in, where you go in my opinion, my place, when you go into it, it's a dead end. You can go no further by car. You have to park. You have to walk. That as far as you can go.
When he uses the phrase "not far but too far to walk," in your opinion, he's telling you that you can't walk it. You have to drive. You have to have some sort of motor vehicle.
No, well, I mean that's close. I'm saying he's given the option of your own travel. The way you travel down that is totally up to you. But he recommends that you not walk down the canyon.
Why do you say? What is it that implies to you that he recommends you not walk down? Where does that come from?
The reason I believe that is because if you're going to go down the canyon, canyons are created by rivers or creeks, waters, waters on a long time, old waters. Then this is not a straight line. It's anybody that's followed a creek or a river. It goes meandering.
Yeah.
It has S's. And in these S's, if you did walk that distance, it probably is 10 miles.
Well, we measured the distance from the most likely put in on the Madison, where he was, because if you listen to the story, if you read the story, he had somebody drive west from West Yellowstone and drop him off at a place where he could get into the Madison, right? He was dropped off because he was a kid. He couldn't drive there himself. The Madison flows downstream from there, right? It flows to the west. And so if you look at the most likely place he was dropped off in that period, because what was he, 13, less than 13, 10?
Something like that.
Right. So that would have been the early 40s, and the road was a dirt road back then. There was no parking lot where there is a parking lot right now. So what we assumed was he was dropped off at that road at the point at which the Madison was closest to the road. Right?
Yeah.
Because there is no parking lot. There's nothing. He doesn't want to walk for 3 miles carrying his dinghy and things like that. So we took that and we measured the distance, the river distance from there to Baker's Hole, and it was 6.8 miles.
And that all seems plausible to me, except for I would disagree in one part of it. And that is, I don't believe Forrest leads us directly to the treasure with his memories he states right there. I think his secret place is not something he put in the memoir.
Agreed. Yeah.
In almost, I guess I might go far as to say is any place he directly suggests, you can almost eliminate, because he's not going to outright state it.
Right.
He's either going to clue it or hint it, but he is not going to outright speak it.
Right. As he does in the poem. Right, as he does in the poem.
And that's why the poem exists. It's a narrative sketch to tell us where to go. And he wants us, and it's also based on the fact that he wants us out there looking. He wants us in nature. In fact, that may be one of his big premises.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, I would say in this session, stated outright, Cody Lammer, absolutely zoned in areas.
Yeah.
He's not going to do that.
Right.
That's not how Fenn works. That's not how he thinks, and that's not how he keeps a secret.
In your opinion?
Yes, sir. In my opinion.
In your opinion. We all got to do that.
And the reason I have that opinion is it's been 10 years. That leads me to believe the more throngs of people looking in a certain area, the less likely it is there.
I would tend to agree with you, because I don't think it's I don't think the fact that he bathed along the fire hole, for example, is an indication that the treasure would be there. To me, the special place is not documented in any of his books. I
agree. Right. I totally agree with that. Those are aberrations. Those are little ghosts. Those are little floating.
No, those are his memories, right?
Yeah, and that is truly part of the memoir. And when you look at the book from that point of view, there's going to be true memoirs of memory he wants in there. And there's going to be other things that you're like.
So let me ask you, because I'm going to have to cut us off here in just a minute. So I have one last question before we go.
Okay.
How old was he? So I'm of the opinion that the first time that he stumbled over his special place, right? That's the only, there was no way he could go to it before. Like all of us, when we find some place that's a great fishing location, a great treasure hunting location, a great metal detecting, we stumble over it. We stumble over those special places. Okay.
I stumbled over my special place.
Right. Exactly. That's how you find special. That's kind of what makes them special, right?
Yes.
So, in your opinion, how old was he when he stumbled over his special place?
Well, I believe it was in the time he traveled from Texas to Yellowstone, between the points of traveling from Texas into Yellowstone.
So younger than 20.
North of Santa Fe in the Rocky Mountains.
Right. No, but so younger than 20. Well, let's do it this way. Was he 20 and younger, 20 to 40, or 40 and older when he discovered his special place?
It's only a guess, but if I were guessing, it doesn't get me any closer to the treasure or the poem.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was guessing at that, I would say somewhere in his teens.
Mm-hmm.
Because although he says he's umbilically connected to the secret spot, he couldn't have memories of it when he's a child or a baby.
Right.
Well, a few of us only have scant memories of those times. We develop most of our very imagery nature spots with a family that takes us out there in our teens.
Well, a special place is the indication that you've discovered a special place is a psychologically evolved decision, right? That's not something.
Correct.
That's not something that a child decides upon. You have to have an evolved psychology in order to determine what you've stumbled upon is your special place. You also have to do it in a way that your expectation is that special place will live long enough so that it is not corrupted by anyone else. Because the minute it's corrupted by someone else, it's no longer special.
And that gives you the hint of all of the things that he put into his clues are semi-permanent.
Right.
And I say semi because none of us can change volcanoes.
Right,
None of us
right.
can change earthquakes,
Right.
slides, any of that. However, if nothing geologically changes for 1,000 years, then this poem leads you directly to the treasure.
Right. All right, sir. Thank you. Another good conversation. I'm going to call it quits for tonight because I have to get to bed. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
We will.
All right. You have a good evening. Thanks for calling in.
You too, sir. Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good conversations with that particular gentleman. I like his conversations. Maybe because he kind of has we agree on some things.
I left my boots and my faded jeans in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and swapped them for a coat and tie and someplace else to go. There were days that were laced with white lines on narrow blacktop roads, with honky tonks around each bend. A drunken episode. Those flashing lights and them busted fists and women with no name. And morning past the night before.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and sinners, thank you for joining me on the Church of the Search tonight. I had a great time. I hope you had as good a time as I did. I look forward to further conversations. We'll see you again on Wednesday night. Please feel free to join us on Monday night at 7 p.m. at COVID Conversations for our discussion with Dr. Coffee Brown on the coronavirus and its progress and how it's going to affect us. We don't talk politics on that show. We talk about medicine. And we have the right guy for it because he's a very learned fellow. He's a retired emergency medical services physician, and he's a professor at the University of New Mexico Medical Center. He's a bright guy, and I just love asking him questions. So take us out with a howling dog. Because you know what? I could. Hang on. So I've got to have that 20-second outro so we can use for Google. Let me see if I can. Where the heck is the? Okay, the howling dog is going to be our outro tonight. Okay, that'll be fun. Brad and Sarah, I will call you tomorrow so that I can tell you where I am with the whole YouTube thing, and then we can discuss strategies up to and including just sending you some money. Okay, so I don't know how much else we can do here, but we can talk about it tomorrow. All right. I want to thank our mods for being here tonight. If anybody's going to do a follow-up to the show tonight with what do they call it, after hours, make sure you let folks know. They can go over to your place and hang out for a while. Thank you for hanging out with me. I've had just a wonderful time. I'm sorry that we didn't get to do more calls, but, man, the time goes so quickly, you know. So I was up north today. It was a good day. But it wasn't. I didn't find what I was expecting to find. But I guess if you're worried about me still being in the treasure hunt, you can put those worries aside. I'm like everybody else. I'm hooked. So, hey, what can I say? Get ready for the howling dog here. I could do was leave that goddamn place. She had memories. And our good friend Angeline Jolly is doing something with songs. She's working on it. She's going to have a new. Version of this song for us pretty soon. Howling dog outro. So this is Keeper. Keeper, and this is my daughter, Toby Renee. It's her dog, Toby Renee. She's got a personality and a half, man. It's in the song, Sassy. That's how I wrote it. Here we go. Good night, you guys. Love you.
Good boy. That was so good. Thank you for telling us about the woo-woos.
Good night, guys. Love you.